unmute now, if possible, please. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar with Softcat, Trend Micro, and AWS Marketplace. Is your security tooling cloud ready? Today we have three great speakers: Dean Gardner, our Chief Technologist for Cloud at Softcat; Gamal Singh, the Senior Strategic Alliance Manager for Trend Micro; and Darren Sharp, the Senior Channel Business Development Manager for AWS Marketplace. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that you can submit questions at any time during the webinar using the Q&A tool on the console. And all being well, we'll be able to take time at the end of the session to go through them and answer these questions as soon as possible. We also wanted to let you know the recording of the webinar will be emailed to you by tomorrow. If you have any further questions following the event, please speak to your Softcat account manager, or if you don't have a direct contact, please email our marketing@softcat.com pot. There is also an email at the end of the slide deck that you'll be able to use to get in contact with the AWS Business Manager on our Alliance team also. I'll now pass over to you, Dean, to start the webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Appreciate that intro. So today, Dean Gardner, Chief Technologist for Cloud. I sit in our Octo team, Office of CTO, and really want to talk about what Softcat have been doing over the last 18 months of building our AWS practice. Just illustrating here that the capability over that period has kind of grown significantly, and obviously working with our ISV community such as Trend has been a big part of that. So just to kind of go through, because obviously the meat of this presentation is going to be with the Trend team and obviously the Marketplace team at AWS. But just to put it into context, Softcat has invested in a range of technical resource, solution architects, pro-certified architects, and engineers over the last 18 months. And through that, we've built a range of services in our portfolio, and this is assessment discovery services through to those design delivery services and that operational element, which is really critical for a lot of our customers who are consuming services from AWS today. And that leads me on to some of the optimization and billing services, where 2 years in a row, Cloud Health Partner of the Year, supported by our Cloud Intelligence service, where we're seeing a lot of effort going into optimizing that AWS environment and ensuring customers using it in the right way. One of the biggest things that we've done over the last certainly 12 months is invest a lot in our marketplace capability. We have been #1 partner globally for transactions. That is the ISV community transacting through AWS's marketplace, and bringing all that together as part of a procurement transformation for our customers. It's significant that customers who are using AWS in the way they're using it, they can really use that third-party ISV overlay, and specifically around things like security and Trend, really layer in that additional value. And obviously, as part of that, we work with the likes of Trend to create these private offers that feed into that transformation of procurement for our customers. And we manage all of that for them as part of that billing optimization service. And in addition, we're a well-architected partner, so we can do those health check reviews, ensuring that your AWS environment is set up in the right way. We also do things like landing zone deployments, etc. So we're really kind of looking at that full life cycle of deployment, and obviously ensuring you're well-architected. And one of the areas linked to a lot of the marketplace work we've done is that EDP commercial guidance. So that transformation of procurement we're seeing with large spend customers who are investing heavily with commits with AWS. They can take EDP, so enterprise discount programs, over a period of time. And the key thing is you get access to additional discounts. And in addition to that, if you are looking to transact your marketplace spend, you can then burn down essentially that EDP, not only with your AWS consumption, but with your ISV spend. So if you bought Trend to Marketplace, you can then burn down that commitment quicker with that transaction. And we provide that as part of what we call private offers. And Darren will talk a bit about that later on today. But the key thing there is we can manage all of that on behalf of our customers, and doing that fairly successfully with quite a few customers today. And the key thing is we're a consultancy partner. You know, it's something we've invested a lot of time and effort in over the last 18 months to invest that technical resource, that technical overlay to support our customers to ensure that they're setting up and configuring those environments in the right way. So that's my introduction. Softcat obviously are here to support you with your AWS strategy and obviously AWS deployment. But I'm going to hand over now to Gamal, who's going to talk more about what Trend provide as part of that overlay to that AWS story. Over to you, Gamal.
Brilliant. Thank you, Dean. Good morning, everyone. So I'm Gamal Singh. I'm responsible for our strategic alliances for Trend Micro. So this session is really about security tooling. Is your security tooling cloud ready? The cloud's been a lifesaver for a lot of businesses who've otherwise kind of struggled to support mass remote working during this pandemic lockdown. Yet many of these firms are still failing to kind of really maximize security to unlock some of the challenges when it comes to cloud infrastructure and managing applications in the public cloud as well. And when we think about how bad is that problem, we think about a recent study from Trend Micro revealed that nearly 47% of UK IT leaders have failed to upgrade a security strategy in line with their cloud environment. And that leaves a huge gap. While organizations want to be more nimble, cost-effective, and responsive to kind of their market demands, security remains a constant barrier for certain customers as well. There's an outdated notion around security in terms of false impressions, in terms of if I'm migrating, do I fully understand the risks of moving from a on-premise data center into the public cloud? So this session is really going to look into the Achilles heel of cloud security. Gone are the days of networks isolating behind company firewalls and limited stack of enterprise applications. With the current demand, a wide variety of applications and services, as well as platforms that require different types of protections, cloud builders will really have to look at security through many lenses and really anticipate some of the threat that's out there in terms of extortion, breach, phishing, and others. So really, cloud security tools really have to stand up to some of those key responsibilities. And one of the key things is when you're putting your applications, your operating system, and your data in the public cloud, you have to adhere to a shared responsibility. And how well does your security tooling really engage and work in respect to that shared responsibility bit? And the key thing around that is really things like visibility. So it's really crucial for tools to have more visibility, and certain traditional tools may not be able to provide you with insights across your physical, virtual, and cloud and container environments. Those tools may be more cumbersome, in terms of clunky to use. They may lack automation, may require a lot of manual intervention, which can lead to a lot of human errors. And when you consider different teams working in different environments in the cloud and actually having responsibility of different assets, which are born and dying every moment, the biggest challenges is really around misconfiguration. And if you can't see those threats and you don't understand, and these are left undetected for a long time, this could cause challenges far as threat actors are concerned. And as we've seen with COVID, we've seen many industries start to really work and push their digital products forward, and they're using the cloud to do that in a DevSecOps kind of mentality. And that really requires, a streamlined security that's built into that CI/CD pipeline experience, leveraging APIs to really make the most of that. And speed is really important. When you've got development, security, and ops working together, it's important that security isn't a roadblock, but an enabler in that software development lifecycle as well. And equally, it needs to be multi-layered. So when we think about being cloud aware, not only understanding the services that the cloud provider provides, but also understanding what posture and capabilities that security tool requires. And often, enterprises are running multiple different tools, doing multiple different things, and therefore the management and governance of those tools is very cumbersome and difficult. And when you introduce multiple environments, whether it's physical, virtual, or multi-cloud, as well as the vintage of different applications, there's a big challenge. And above all, there's a skills gap. So when we consider the cybersecurity industry, I think in Europe alone, there's 350K more job listings than actually people that got the skill set. So there's huge demand, and security tools have a role to play in terms of reducing some of that complexity, taking away some of that manual operation, and enabling cloud builders to make the most of that as well. So there are certain challenges around the tools that you use, and consolidation we're seeing across the board with enterprises, with vendors, with the independent think tanks like IDC and Gartner, really talking about the importance of consolidating the security so that you can address some of the key pain points in this as well. And above all, when you're buying security, hey, if you're running an operating model that's 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, then you really want to pay for security in the same way. You don't really want to take an enterprise agreement out for 3 years with an instant-based licensing model that you're just overpaying for usage. And we'll talk about the kind of the customer trends that we're seeing. But visibility, lack of it, lack of agility, too many tools, not having the right purchasing piece, and not being able to address the most important thing, which is how do I get assurance in terms of boosting my compliance? That's really central to this part as well. When we look at some of the challenges that we see with public cloud, some of the biggest challenges are very much around attackers finding weak links or compromising that DevOps pipeline. We're seeing that when we think about vulnerabilities built into containers or into code, where they're actually taking public code from taking publicly available code libraries from repositories and introducing it into a CI/CD pipeline, that means inevitably the digital platform, product that you're making, is going to have some vulnerabilities or exploits built into it. So the importance of mitigating against that is really key. And we think about container technologies moving leaps and bounds now. I think nearly 23% of all businesses in the UK have some sort of DevSecOps culture, a model already within their organization. But predominantly, if we look at Docker images alone, lots of different vulnerabilities that can be introduced via that container side piece as well. And it's important as your security partner, from a vendor perspective, is really how integrated that vendor is into that cloud provider. So if I talk about Trend Micro's relationship with AWS, we've been a long-standing security partner. We're in fact the top security partner globally. We've had joint customers within the enterprise space and across all segments, mid-market and SMB. We're joint launch partners together. So when, for example, Outpost recently in the road to reinvent for AWS, we've been partnering with AWS on AWS Outpost, as well as things like Guard Duty, Security Hub, AWS Managed Services. So if you as a customer are consuming AWS Managed Services, AWS will not only manage your asset, but will also use Trend Micro cloud security to protect your workloads as part of that managed services piece as well. And we continue to push our engagement with AWS with things like AWS Marketplace. And again, Darren's going to talk about Marketplace a little bit more in detail later on, but ultimately this is really about modernizing procurement for cloud. If you're running majority of your infrastructure in an AWS environment, and you really want to use software applications, services in the same way that you're using public cloud. So your use case should be a driver. And AWS Marketplace for Trend Micro is a key route to market for our customers and partners to really drive that experience, whether it's spinning up a premium Cloud One workload protection capability, or using something pay-as-you-go, and as the demand rises, go into monthly, multi-year, or do a private offer. And again, we'll look at that in a lot more detail, but this has really helped our customers be more agile, look at the economics and spend, and optimize the spend of security in line with the public cloud as well. And of course, as Dean mentioned, Softcat's been a long-standing partner of Trend Micro. And again, a global leader in AWS Marketplace in terms of that modern procurement, but also some of the capabilities around consulting, onboarding, around serving public sector, as well as commercial customers as well. And that partnership only boosts the competency and the skills and the experience that Softcat bring to the table in terms of AWS and Trend Micro as well. So Trend Micro has been around for 30 years, and in that space time, we've been really focused on kind of three main areas: user protection, which is really about securing the device, securing the endpoint, securing the SaaS services, like Office 365, Box, Google, and all those things, as well as the network. So looking at northeast, southwest traffic from a prevention and detection perspective, but also hybrid cloud, which has been our biggest kind of pillar and category. It's been a huge part. And we're differentiated in this space because we own a large part of that market share. So IDC recently quoted us as being an £800 gorilla, simply because we're larger than the next three players in the market in terms of hybrid cloud workload security. And that's kind of securing workloads that are in the public cloud going forward. So a huge opportunity. And the fact that, the key message here is that endpoint has a certain level of enrichment versus server, versus container, or microservices. And, we've been looking at virtual environments like VMware, as well as proprietary and open source environments that we protect in those kind of, in that whole continuum of that software-defined data center as well. And our goals as a security vendor is really about, giving customers more visibility. So actually, when you are creating a new asset, running a virtual machine, an EC2 instance in AWS, you have the ability to automatically detect that machine. So we do a recommendation scan, which basically scans all your AWS account, looks across all the assets in the accounts, gives you visibility, and also recommends a posture. So giving you the ability to be more powerful, to protect against vulnerabilities and malware, but also getting streamlined in terms of automation. So if you are auto-scaling workloads and if you are running different operating models, this Trend Micro hybrid cloud portfolio really helps to support you in terms of that, providing that consistent protection, visibility that's optimized for your hybrid cloud journey as well. And automation is a big part, which is really, connecting into that DevOps pipeline, minimizing any friction, and actually encouraging that adoption of that cloud piece as well. And we have a role to play in terms of we understand that your software-defined data center is transforming. The threat landscape is getting more and more challenging, and there's increasing pressures in terms of regulatory and compliance. So our role here is to take some of those pains away from you and to help you be more powerful, be more streamlined, and go and leverage automation. And when we think about cloud security, there's a bit of a perfect storm here. So there's lots of infrastructures services that are exploding. Multiple teams looking after different kind of security decisions as well as assets in the public cloud. You think about shadow IT. You think about different teams with different goals, which inevitably means that actually standardizing security tooling and managing the number of security tools, it can be challenging. But also with more organization developing more application, looking at the customer journey, digitizing platforms, it just means that there's more and more DevOps culture within the business, and actually speed to market and velocity of the application delivery becomes very critical. And the bad guys are getting very sophisticated. So we're seeing lots of breaches and people taking advantage of vulnerabilities and exploits, not only in code, but in containers, in misconfigurations. So in that backdrop, there's a lot of challenges for cloud builders when looking at security. And RightScale, which is an independent body that looks at the customer sentiment, they look at every year in January, they do a report. Because of COVID, they redid the report this year. And for the last 4 years, continually, cybersecurity has been number 2 or number 1 priority. And CXOs are increasingly worried about brand reputation and the impact of breach that happens to their bottom line. And with the CMO, which owns almost 70% of all IT budget, is driving the IT budget, according to Gartner, is looking to acquire more customers, to create more digital experiences, and they're leveraging cloud to get there as a catalyst. And therefore, cybersecurity and cloud become really key drivers. Things like automation, compliance, service management, spend efficiency, leveraging machine learning and AI becomes really important priority for organizations. And actually, as a security vendor, we, of course, have a big role to play in terms of supporting our enterprise customers, our customers generally, across that space. And actually, one of the themes that are coming out of this report this year is that optimizing spend is really important. I think in Europe alone, between 8 and 12% is what companies are spending on cloud, but are overspending on cloud than they're budgeting for. And key things like making sure that they understand and negotiate the contracts appropriately, they understand the cost of on-premise versus cloud, that actually what's their migration strategy and how it's going to impact the cost of investing into services become key. And this is where Softcat looks after things like well-architected principles, reviews to help you not only optimize infrastructure, but also look at how you can improve your security posture and optimize cost as well. And we see from the data center perspective that actually more and more of that data center is moving into the public cloud, and AWS is pretty much number 1 in terms of responders of this survey looking to adopt that vendor. But multi-cloud is here as well. So actually dealing with security from a multi-cloud perspective, from a customer concern perspective, is really key. And again, when you look at the continuum from physical, virtual, public cloud containers to all the way down to microservices, with all the different platforms and applications and vintages of applications, it's important that your security vendor is able to deliver integration into those platforms, not only from supporting those platforms, but also looking at things like bounty programs and global protection network that really help support the protection of those networks as well. So when we think about cloud builders, they have some key priorities. And we've pretty much categorized into these 3 kind of key strategic areas. Cloud native apps, which is really about delivering fast, iterate often, leverage infrastructure as code wherever possible. There's a lot of reuse of code and leveraging public code libraries as well. Is quite key. So, from a deliver fast, iterate often, it's really key to make sure that DevOps start to use the right tooling in order to make the most of it. And when we think about tooling, we're thinking about not only the pipeline, not only runtime and pre-runtime protection, we're also thinking about, protecting cloud workloads, looking at cloud data and storing that, looking at serverless functions, as well as containers as well. The other thing is, of course, cloud migration. So it's when you think about transitioning to the public cloud, it's not a cutover. It's always a hybrid or a multi-cloud approach, which is becoming more the norm. So from a security perspective, cloud builders really struggle in terms of actually how do we look at more of a perimeter-based security and how do we move into host-based security or more host-based security into that public cloud. So from a migration perspective, there are some challenges around when do they adopt security, how quickly do they adopt that security posture, how does that posture work is ingrained as part of that whole migration piece as well. And last but not least, it's all about organizations are forming teams with a single goal in terms of achieving cloud center of operational excellence. So they're driving cloud-native applications, but they're not often kind of optimized. So they really want repeatable, consistent models to avoid errors. They want to optimize their infrastructure cost. They want to support consistent security across multi-cloud, as well as manage their risks. And biggest challenge here for companies is not only that I need to meet NIST, PCI, or GDPR compliance, but also I need to give assurance back to the company, the organization, that actually I'm meeting those standards, as well as the regulators. And also from a governance perspective, when we've got so many different teams leveraging the cloud in different projects, how do I make sure that actually we're building the right governance experience around that as well? So we're really proud to introduce Cloud One security services platform. And what we've done is we've put together a single platform for customers that are either doing cloud migration, developing cloud native applications, but also want to manage their kind of cloud operations as well. So at a very high level, with Cloud One service platform for cloud builders, we provide 6 key solutions. And when we think about consolidating, your security tools, this platform is all about best of breed. So things like workload security. So as I said earlier, IDC has recognized us as an 800-pound gorilla, and we secure 30% of those cloud workloads out there. And so workload security is all about runtime, container, and workload security, bringing you things like IPS, file integrity monitoring, web reputation, all of those capabilities into a single security tool that we call workload security. Very powerful, very much around, regardless of what environment you're securing, physical, virtual, cloud, container, microservices, there's a role for workload security there as well. And when we think about container security in terms of image scanning, we also have capabilities in Smart Check as well as SaaS-based container security. And application security is critical. We acquired a company called Imenio many years ago, which allowed us to basically have to look at securing serverless functions and have an API approach in terms of that DevOps pipeline. And file storage. I mean, how many times have we heard that a vulnerability leaked into via some data into the network? So actually having that data hygiene is really key, and file scanning allows us to deliver those capabilities to customers. And conformity, when we think about well-architected reviews, when we think about giving assurance, what conformity does is actually scans your cloud account, looks out for all the misconfigurations, so 600 plus rules, say for AWS, and then it outlines how you remediate those tools. So not only gives you visibility of the misconfigurations, all those teams working across the board, but also in terms of how you can leverage those, how you can remediate those tools. We've got a knowledge base that helps customers to do self-remediation. But it also points out, this is a NIST page or the GDPR compliance page, that because of that misconfiguration, you are out of compliance. And the whole goal here with well-architected principles is making sure that your cloud operational excellence is strong, and then you're using this tool as more governance. And of course, this is all about a multi-layered security posture based on what you're building in the public cloud. And when we think about data lakes and hybrid cloud and multi-cloud, network security in terms of IPS is a key part of security, securing entire VPCs as well. So ultimately, there's 3 key messages here. Cloud One service security platform is really built around three things. Flexibility, so give you the choice in terms of where you're building, hybrid, multi-cloud, any vintage of application delivery, whether it's serverless or containers. Broad platform support, so Windows, Linux, thousands of different support kernels, as well as legacy end-of-life systems as well. And from an automation perspective, this is the biggest pain point. When customers look at their traditional security tools and they're moving to public cloud, they want automation. They want security as code, which empowers DevOps teams to build security into their pipeline and also release continuously and frequently. And it uses things like RESTful APIs to make the whole experience a lot more better. So built-in automation into this platform. So whether you look at workload security or conformity or network security, we are always leveraging AI and machine learning as well as automation and empowering our customers to really look at the high-value assets, look at those SAP instances, look at these specific applications that have a specific in terms of posture, and then deliver the policies in an automated fashion. And most biggest example is, for example, you would have seen zero logon as a new vulnerability that's come out on the Windows platform. But with virtual patching and workload security, that's turned on. We automatically, using our smart protection network, provide a network layer patch, IPS patch, that actually protects you from a zero-day perspective as well. And predominantly, this is all in one to minimize complexity. Wherever you're going in your public cloud journey, you can secure and have visibility and have control in terms of your entire infrastructure piece as well. And so, the whole experience for us is all about a single sign-on platform. So you don't have to do a cloud enrollment into workload security as part of Cloud One. You actually automatically can enroll. And whether you're using workload security or application security, you don't have to go for all of them. You just pick and choose. And the power of AWS Marketplace with Softcat, it gives you the ability to say, actually, guys, I'm doing a migration project at the moment, and I need workload security as well as file storage. And you can really pick and choose what you want, but this is all about a common single sign-on experience with a single platform that provides you a single knowledge base, documentation going forward as well. And we recently made announcements with partners like Sneak, for example, who see about 60% of the threat landscape in open source tools. So Sneak will also be taking part of this console, so our customers get the best experience going forward. I talked about procurement, but very quickly, from a procurement perspective, if you're looking at workload security, you can do it hourly, monthly, yearly. You can go into private offer with any of these workloads. Containers, it's all about number of registries, number of applications, number of kind of storage buckets, number of accounts that you're securing from a conformity perspective, and then what your network throughput is as well in terms of licensing. And again, Softcat and the team can work with you if you have any questions. We've got some quick start guides, and we also have some remote onboarding capabilities to help you, find misconfiguration, any open storage access, any violations of policies and things like that. And this is, again, available to you via Softcat. Get in touch with your Softcat account manager to start using any of these tools, and we'll support you in terms of some of that onboarding. So just going to hand over to Darren, but with AWS Marketplace for our customers, it's made sure that actually it's a single bill for security that they get for Cloud One under their AWS bill. Literally within minutes, you can get using these technology. You can leverage the automation out of the box and start consuming this technology, security capabilities on demand. And of course, it's cost effective. It's based on what your use case or scenario is, and how do we align the right licensing model to the way that you procure. And again, you've got lots of dimensions to choose for, but whether you want to start, using a freemium service, move on to hourly, and then actually, or a mix of hourly and monthly or annual, you've got a lot of choice to play around with as well. So perfect storm, number one AWS Marketplace partner, number one security leader in terms of market share, but also kind of our zero-day initiative as well. So with that in mind, I'll hand over to Darren to take you through AWS Marketplace.
Thanks very much, Gamal, and thanks to Dean for setting the scene there and going through, some of the trend portfolio and how we can work jointly with Softcat and AWS Marketplace. Just want to take a few minutes to give you a very high-level view as to, what Marketplace is about. Why is this so important to, the likes of our premium partners like Trend and Softcat together? Essentially, this is a migration tool. This is not just Amazon.com for enterprise software. If we look at where typical organizations are on the left here, this is our assessment of a typical enterprise software estate, there's a large opportunity to rationalize this and, get greater efficiencies. So, on the right-hand side here, very much where, you as customers are going to be moving towards in different states at different times. We recognize this is a utopia. But, hopefully the one thing we can agree is that there are some efficiencies that we can drive out of our enterprise software estate. And using the partner world and the likes of AWS Marketplace is one of these mechanisms that we can help drive that transformation. And why? I mean, Dean mentioned this. Dean did a great job of talking about Softcat's value here, and I'll dig in a bit more detail. Given the time that we've got, we'll take a high-level view. This is about procurement transformation. You can deploy, some freemium software, some bring your own license software from the likes of Trend in AWS Marketplace today. What we do know is that you as customers are starting to want to consume software in the same agile and elastic ways that you're consuming services from the likes of AWS. And also, your buying modalities are changing. Gamal covered a bit of this as to where IT budget is lying. Softcat are very familiar with this. Procurement is becoming to a certain extent decentralized, but still needs some management. And that's because the builders are out there building. Now, the pressure on procurement departments is ever growing as businesses look to drive cost efficiencies. A marketplace can certainly help with that in partnership with Softcat to make sure you're getting best value out of your software estate and analysing what your enterprise class software vendors are doing in the cloud. Trend being absolutely top of that list. So Marketplace, it's over 7,000 individual listings. I'd encourage you to go and have a look at AWS.Amazon.com/marketplace. 1,500 ISVs. Available in all our regions. If you've got an AWS account, and even if you haven't, you can set one up with a credit card super quick. I'd encourage you to go and have a look. This is giving you access to software in a super quick, curated way. It's there to help you migrate, modernize, and manage your workloads in the cloud. So lots of different deployment methodologies, lots of value added to the ISV in terms of getting their software to market quickly. Gamal covered some of this a moment ago. Lots of different consumption methodologies here. So, for the bits and pieces for finding, trying, testing, and deploying quickly and moving on quickly, Marketplace is there to help you. For the enterprise class purchases, for where you need some trusted advice and everything you need the partner world for today, Softcat is there as one of our top partners to be able to help you with what we call consulting partner private offers. So you can see the value to the ISV world on the left. This is about publishing their software super quickly. It's in a curated world. We hold these images or give SaaS entitlement with a very clever key exchange. We can get you access to enterprise class software and the vendors that you know and trust and run your business super quickly. The value to you, the customer, on the right-hand side, and you can see through this agent accounting model, Softcat are still able to be trusted advisor, professional services deliverer, cost consolidator, all these kind of good things to help you deliver this procurement transformation into your business. So CPPO, or Consulting Partner Private Offers, is absolutely the partner program that Softcat are top of the train, and they can help you with these enterprise class private offers, as Gamal mentioned. And this is what one looks like. It's a dedicated link that's subject to you that gives you custom terms, pricing, an end user license agreement, and the option to scale up and scale down if you choose to. So when you're looking at some of the clouds, some of the Trend security tooling portfolio, you can go and speak to Softcat and they can help you manage this contract very quickly and efficiently. And with a few clicks of a button, Softcat can deliver these contracts to you for you to be able to then customize and click and accept. And as Dean covered right at the top, if you do have an AWS enterprise discount program agreement, Marketplace purchases will retire that discount through Softcat at 50% of the value that you purchase the software at. So lots of value to you, the customer. So this is about reducing procurement friction. It really is about transforming the way you buy. It's about spend consolidation and management of those procurement workflows that, again, Softcat are so skilled at today. Everything they're doing for you on premises customers, they can do for you in the cloud, partnering with AWS Marketplace in a much faster and much more agile way. And it's worth saying as well, there's lots of tools in this. I said this is a migration tool. It's not just Amazon.com for enterprise software. There's lots of tools in here for you, the business, that we can dig in on a later date to go through to basically help you deploy Marketplace and Softcat as a premium partner together with Trend to be able to manage this enterprise software world for you. For example, just briefly to cover things like private marketplace, to give some governance and guardrails as to how central procurement is managing the deployment of digital marketplaces. You can very simply, with Softcat helping, organize a structure by which people can deploy certain elements of your trusted portfolio into the organization. Lots of other tools within the marketplace platform, like enterprise contract, that will help you with standard sets of terms and conditions. And again, Softcat are well versed in managing this world for you. So I'd absolutely encourage you to come and speak to your Softcat account manager, or one of the network security specialists, or someone in Dean's cloud team that can help you understand what AWS Marketplace and the security products from our premium vendor like Trend can really deliver for you in the organization. So whistle stop tool there of Marketplace. Look forward to digging in with you at a later date or answering any questions. And with that, I'll hand back to Dean.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Gamal. So yeah, just as a summary, I just think that the key thing there, or the key things to take away: flexible transaction options from Trend obviously makes it easy and gives you access to their technology, so speed to market to gain access to the software. It's quicker than it's ever been to trial and test. And obviously, if you want to kind of explore the marketplace options, Darren just said it, we're experts in that. We can definitely do sessions, whether it's one-on-one or with teams in your business, to just educate you on the value of the market models. And so if you want to do that, you engage with a Softcat account manager. If you've got one, if you haven't, there's ways of contacting us through the vendors, and obviously we can engage then. Take advantage of the options available from Trends. There are, as been pointed out, options available for you to test some of this stuff and trial it. And register for those adoption programs, and you can do that via us. Well architected health checks, reviews, absolutely. We start there. We can look at what you've got today to see if you're getting the value out of your architecture and the solution you've got in place. And we have a NetSec, a network security team. And they do workshops around this stuff and obviously everything else around security. We'll also have a range of cloud security services we provide. So yeah, don't forget to take a look at the resources section and the free trial of Cloud One. And after that, I'll say thank you. And for any other questions, you can contact Tilly Perkins or your Softcat account manager. Back to you, Zana.
Thank you for that, guys. Really well done. I have a few questions that have come through the Q&A tool, so we can go through some of those with Dean, Gamal, and Darren now for the last couple of minutes. If you do have any further questions that you haven't asked already, do submit them on the Q&A tool. If we do run out of time, we will come back to you post-event, so we'll get in as many as we can in the next few minutes. So first question, guys, if we're growing our cloud estate, how does the private offer work for Cloud One?
Sure, I can take that, Zana, and Darren absolutely jump in.
Sure.
So I think the key thing here is, with growing customers that are moving more and more workloads into the cloud, the uncertainty that they have is often around what the pace of that growth is going to look like. And equally, when they look at investing in security, they're thinking about, actually, if we can't time that, actually we know that we're going to transform in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years time, but it's going to take us. There may be some bumps in the road. So how do we account for that in things like committing to a private offer? So from a private offer perspective, in our listings with AWS Marketplace via Softcat, you're able to get access to a freemium. So if we're starting off really testing our platform, as Dean mentioned, you can start off to play with our tools, get support from us to use those. You can also choose, actually, I've got a workload that's quite static, and therefore I want to just license this workload as an instance per year or instance per month. We can absolutely do that licensing model. Equally, you're going to have a mixed ratio workloads that actually some of them may have a different operating model that says, actually, these workloads, for example, if you're doing SAP and you're moving that, centralizing, consolidating SAP into the public cloud, then you really want an operating model based on follow the sun in your local region. So you may have a policy to say it's running 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So we can work with you in terms of understanding your usage for some of those services that you're bringing on board. And then we can put together a private offer, which essentially says, hey, this is a start date, it's an end date of a commitment. and let's look at your kind of minimal viable kind of spend for a period of time, and what does that look like? And because you make that commitment in that private offer, you get the benefit from Softcat of getting more attractive pricing there as well. But it's a very easy thing to do. So literally within a couple of hours to a day, a private offer process can be initiated. And if you've grown too fast and you met your commitment, well, actually, you can do a review with Trend Micro and Softcat, and we're able to basically look at the forecast that you've got remaining as well. So it's relatively flexible, very easy to use, and it also provides very quick cost savings today, especially for unpredictable growth or migration projects coming up. This allows you to get good cost savings in line with your cloud adoption piece as well.
Thank you for that, Gamal. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but for those of you who have submitted questions, we will come back to you post-event to answer those and give you a bit of a summary. Thank you, everyone, for joining and staying right to the end. We hope you had a bit of extra insight from that, and I'm sure you can all agree the speakers have done a great job covering the content today. As we said earlier, if you have any more questions, please do get into contact with your Softcat account manager, or if you don't have anyone to contact directly, please email Tilly, our Softcat business manager for AWS. See her email on this thank you slide in front of you. We will be sending out a copy of this webinar tomorrow, so you can watch it back on demand in your own time as you wish. And I would like to say thank you to Dean, Gamal, and Darren for speaking on this webinar today. And thanks again to everyone who joined. We hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks.